Today, I'm going to show you how to set up your TP-Link router. And before starting, if this video helps, please support me. I donate half of all donations to shelters. You can find more details in the description below. So, first thing you need to do is turn on the router. Take the power adapter. Plug one end into an outlet and the other into the router. When the router is powered on, the light will turn on. It may take a few minutes for it to completely turn on. Next, connect the cable from your broadband provider or from your modem to a special internet port. This port usually has a different color and labeled as WAN. Each cable should be inserted until it clicks. Now you need to reset the router to the factory settings. Press and hold the reset button on the router for 10 seconds. Until the indicator lights on the router begin to flash. Sometimes this button is located inside the router casing to avoid accidental pressing. In this case, use a thin object to press on it. The router will reboot and the settings will return to the factory defaults. Insert one end of the Ethernet cable that comes with the router into one of the Ethernet port. And the other into your computer's Ethernet port. Please wait a few minutes for connection. The router is now connected to your computer. Now you need to set it up. But first, I will show you another method for connecting the router if you do not have an Ethernet cable or your computer does not have an Ethernet port. Connect the router to the power adapter and cable from your internet provider. This will enable Wi-Fi. If the router is new and has never been configured, the Wi-Fi network will have the name of your router. Your router has its own Wi-Fi network name and password printed on a sticker. Connect to it. Great, you've connected to the router. Now let's start setting it up. First, open your web browser and visit the URL you see on the screen. Use the URL bar instead of the search bar. At the beginning, you will see a form with a login and password. Usually, it is admin and admin. If these credentials are wrong, then find label on your router. The credentials are often printed on the bottom of the device. If none of this works, it means that your router has already been configured and someone has changed the login and password. If you can't find out the login credentials, just reset the router to factory settings. And then log into the router's personal cabinet using the standard credentials. If your router settings do not look like mine, it means that your router has a different firmware. I made a video for every firmware type. You can find all the links in the description down below. I want to warn you right away that there are many firmware versions and they may differ slightly. But don't worry, you will succeed, just watch the video and follow the instructions. First, you need to create a username and password for your personal account. Some firmware versions might skip this step, but if the form appears, fill in all the details and make sure to remember them. Or better yet, write them down somewhere safe. You'll need them the next time you log into your router settings. Now run the quick setup to manually configure your internet connection and Wi-Fi settings. Just a heads up, depending on your firmware version, some steps might look different or appear in a different order. But don't worry, you've got this. Just follow along with the video. On the first screen, select your time zone. If you're not sure which one to choose, pick any option and click Next. On the next page, select your internet connection type. You can usually find this information in your contract with the internet provider. If you don't know what to select, try clicking the Auto Detect button. The router will attempt to figure out your connection type. If it doesn't work, just choose Dynamic IP. Based on the connection type you selected, the next page might look a bit different from mine. If you picked Dynamic IP, go ahead and select one of the options shown. If your internet provider gives access only to a specific MAC address, you'll need to clone the MAC address of your main computer. If you're not sure, just choose Do Not Clone MAC Address. In most cases, cloning it isn't necessary. But if you still can't connect to the internet after the quick setup, try running it again, and this time, clone the MAC address. On the next page, set a name and password for your Wi-Fi network. You'll see one or more available Wi-Fi bands. If you see multiple options, enable them all and set a name and password for each one. Once you've entered the credentials, click the Next button. Now you'll see a summary of all the settings you've just entered. Click the Save button and wait while the settings are applied. If you were connected to the router using Wi-Fi, you'll need to reconnect to the updated network. Click the Next button. Nice job! You've completed the quick setup. Now press the Test Internet Connection button. If it's failed, double-check that all the cables are connected correctly. Then try rebooting your router. Click the reboot icon in the top right corner. After the reboot, wait a few minutes. Sometimes the changes take a bit to apply and the internet will come back. If after all that you still don't have internet, open the Basic tab. Then click Internet. And then choose Clone MAC Address. Save the settings. Reboot your router again. After a couple of minutes, check your internet connection. If internet still doesn't appear, contact your internet service provider. He will tell you what type of connection you have and what other settings you need to do. That's all. If my video was useful, please support my work. I donate half of all donations to shelters. You can find more details in the description below.